My bad, my bad. I have to use a smaller one. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Harrison. I'm the director for the Lincoln County System. And I would like to welcome you to Wyoming Wildflowers. Before class begins, I would like to take a moment to thank the Lincoln County Library System and our facilitators and Lifetime Arts for providing monetary support and making this program possible. Judy Blunt received her Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in painting and drawing, her Master of Arts in printmaking, lithography, and drawing, and her Master of Fine Arts in printmaking and painting from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. She has taught at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, as well as classes and workshops through the Rock Springs Fine Arts Center, Jackson Art Association, Western Wyoming Community College, and in her Bedford studio. After 10 years sailing in the Caribbean, she moved to Star Valley, where she began to sell her paintings in Jackson, Green River, and Lake. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy Wyoming Wildflowers and Watercolor with Jeannie Moore.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. I don't know how many people out there have taken the creative aging class. I had to remember what we called it before, but the way I teach is I'm going to demonstrate, and then everybody in all of the different locations is going to have time to do what I've demonstrated, and then we will move to the next step. Okay. And we're going to be working initially quite small and quite simply. Today, because it's the first day, we have a lot of setup to do, and also a lot of things that we have to learn. The first thing that I want to talk about is this block of paper. Okay, this is called a block. The reason it's called a block is that it is literally glued on all edges. On all four edges, there's glue going around. Now, normally you have a tablet. I just had it in front of me. What did I do? Already lost the tablet. Okay. Normally you have a tablet that the paper will tear right off of. You cannot tear it off of this. It was the one with the, oh my gosh, it's under my palette. So I've got so much stuff here. Okay, this is a regular tablet that we're all familiar with, you know, like your little note cards and things, and then you simply peel it off like that. Okay, this is basically the same thing, except that it is all glued on four different sides. What makes this really, really good to work on, especially if you're using a lot of water, which you really do use with watercolors, with the wildflowers, they're really juicy, right? So what this does is it holds the paper flat. We're going to keep it in the block until it's dry, and then we're going to take it out. If you take it off of the block before it's dry, then you're going to have a warped piece of paper like that, right? So we're going to have to take this paper off. And because this was a new paper to me that I ordered because it was relatively inexpensive, it was only $20 through Jerry's Artorama. Because of that, we ordered it, and I had not worked with it yet. And this is a really strong glue, so you cannot tear it off. Okay, we're not going to tear it off. What I want everybody to do, can you switch to this one for me? Okay, what we're going to want to do is everybody's going to want to take a palette knife, but whatever you have available in your library location. And you're going to want to carefully slip it in. I think it's the upper right-hand corner has places where the glue is not. Okay, right like that. So I want everybody to watch how I do this, and I'm going to be repeating over and over again how I do it, because I don't want you to make a beautiful painting and tear it getting out, and then I'll have tears. There's no tears allowed in the class, okay? So you have to slip it in, and what you do is you pull it towards you. You're breaking that seal, and especially this first piece of paper is going to be hard to do. I don't know if you can tell how hard it is for me to do this. When you get down to the corner, you're going to want to snug it in there. Don't start to pull it off at that point. Come down, turn the whole block around and keep pulling. So pull towards you, pull towards you, pull towards you, pull towards you. And then do it for all of the edges. You can see how hard that is to get that. As we go down in the tablet, it will become easier. But again, you're not going to be taking this off of your block of paper until you're finished with your painting. And that's especially when you don't want to rip it. I can tell you I've ripped 3, okay? All right, so even this last one, you're going to be tempted to then try and tear it off. Don't do it, okay? Go ahead and carry on with your palette knife and pull it like this. I want everybody to do this for me. I want you to remove your top piece of paper from your block, okay? Here at our location, I'm going to hand some more palette knives out. And at the other locations, if you could just share the palette knives and everybody get the paper off as quickly as possible and carefully. But also remember, if you tear this one, it doesn't matter because there's not a Rembrandt on it yet, okay? Does anybody have any questions about how to do that? Do you see what I mean by take it all the way off? Okay, we've had one piece successfully moved here at the Thane location. Did you guys successfully remove yours? Oh. It's tough, isn't it? It's funny because it's hard to get it off, but that is what makes it a really good block. So no matter how much water we put on this piece of paper, it's not going to warp. And then it's going to dry flat, and then we will remove it. And I mean, you know, if you want to do a really beautiful blue sky without a lot of undulating blues in it, then you have to keep the paper flat. It's not that important for the flowers, but it just makes it a little bit easier. And even if you do end up with a warped piece of paper like that, it's really simple to flatten it out later. I don't know if you flattened any of yours from our other class. We were using that. Yeah. All right, we have successfully done that, I think. Everybody give me a thumbs up when everybody has their paper out. Did anybody rip it?
I just did.
Okay. All right, good. You got it out of the way now.
Yeah.
So just put it in, and then if you turn it towards you and slide towards you rather than slide it along, you won't rip it. So pull it towards you, pull it towards you, put it in, yeah, and then pull it towards you. So pull it, well, wait a minute.
Yes, please.
So what I mean by pull it towards you is literally pull it towards you.
Okay,
Literally pull it towards you like that.
gotcha.
Right? Because you try and slide it along that.
So, gotcha. Okay.
Yes, and I did that 3 times, so you're in pretty good company. Okay, so everybody in the other libraries, give me a thumbs up when we have our first piece of paper off. And after you get that first piece of paper off, take our masking tape. You guys, I'm gonna switch. I can't stand blue masking tape. It's a thing. So give us a little more working room too. Okay. Okay. How are we doing on getting the paper off out there? Camera, do they have the paper off?
Yes.
Alpine, everybody's good?
Alpine, Kimmer, Labarge. We're good.
Cokeville and Acton?
Cookville's good. And Athens.
Okay, super. Now we're gonna take a piece of masking tape. We are, but not now. Okay, so just set that piece of paper aside, and then going about halfway down, halfway, you know, you don't have to be precise, just put your masking tape right across like this. Okay, what we're doing today is we're just gonna be using half of the page to make our painting because of our shortened time frame. And even then, we may not finish, but we'll see. We will see. What I do at home is I practice, and then I multiply it by 5 for the class. So that figuring that's kind of how long it may take, getting everybody caught up. Okay, so that should be pretty easy, and we should have our masking tape down like that. And I'm going to work on the right side of the paper. Everybody here should have a little bottle like this. In the other libraries, you were given a bigger bottle, and then I hope today everybody got their empty bottles. So this is called mask. Okay, so what I want people to do is get the mask, and what this is, I have a painting somewhere around here with some of this on it. Oh well. What this is basically, remember rubber cement? Okay, this is a latex product. So if anybody has allergies to latex, don't stick your fingers in it or breathe it if it's like a respiratory allergy. I don't know. Anyway, it's latex. This is a really good one. It is called drawing gum. Okay, it's a French product, I believe, and you can add water to it, you can thin it down, and it's very easy to apply. Okay, what we do, like I said, it's like rubber cement, is we put this on the areas of the paper that we wish to remain white. That will allow us to do something like this with all of the grasses coming up, but retain the areas where we want our flowers to go. Okay, and then we'll peel it off, and then we'll put our bright colors in. Okay, and that will become more, I will be able to explain that in a little more depth once we get going. So the way we're going to use this, normally the way you use a mask, don't anybody do this. Normally what you would do is you would take a brush and you would get it wet, and then you would get it soapy so that your latex or your rubber cement, whatever you want to call it, your sticky stuff, your mask, your frisk, whatever, does not stick to your brush. But what I don't want people doing that here, because it's too many people that have to get into the soap, and then there's a chance that you're going to ruin your brush. So what I practiced was using the handle of the brush. That's how we're going to apply our mask. So what I'm going to do is right here, right at the bottom third of the paper, what I'm going to do is just simply dip my handle of my brush in here, and I'm going to make a bunch of dots down here. Okay, and once you get the dots down here, you'll see that you have quite a dome on that. I can just go into a dot that I have down previously and make more dots. Okay, make some of your dots bigger. You can just shmoo it. I'm going to use Judy Reedy's word shmoo a lot. Okay, there are going to be a lot of different definitions of the word shmoo. Okay, so this is one of them where you just kind of expand out like that to make it like a little bit of a bigger one. You want your dots all to be different shapes and sizes. I would say get about 20 dots on there. Okay, so if everybody could do that for me. When you see the magic of the mask, you are going to be so excited. Your hair is going to be blown back, all right? And then it's very important to always close up your mask when you're done, because it will dry up, and set it aside. Aren't those cute little jars? I was so pleased I found them. what I'm basically doing in this class is just introducing you to your materials, okay? Introducing you to the paints and the palette, the brushes, the mask, maybe some new things you haven't used before. Okay, so once you get that done, everybody give me a thumbs up. We're gonna set this aside now. You're gonna bring out your sheet of paper and your palette. Do we have a thumbs up from everybody for the masking?
There's Alpine still working, camera is ready.
Do you consider yourself moderators or administrators?
They call us facilitators.
Facilitators, okay. Our facilitators are over here. This is Kelsey and Allison are our facilitators. Moderators would be like if I was arguing with someone, right?
Right.
Okay, well, you're not
Discussion.
that. We are not a podcast yet. Okay. So when everybody gets their mask down, what I want is your first piece of paper. I want you to lay it right there alongside your, these are called wells. These are mixing areas. So alongside your wells, okay? Are they caught up yet?
Starla is giving us a thumbs up.
Pardon me? I'll show you. We were using that to tape down our papers before, and in this case, because you have a block that you're working on, we really won't need that, but we're going to use that to cover, like if we're doing a splattering method like this, you can use it to cover that. So it is, I'm using them at home now too. Yeah, exactly. And it holds it. So are they all ready?
All right.
Chop, chop.
LeVar, are you guys ready? Cookville? All right, we are ready.
Okay, okay, so what we have in front of us are tube watercolor paints, all right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna put colors in our wells down here. And we're gonna put them in a specific order, and as you put them in, I want you to write down what you're putting in the well, okay? So we're gonna start on your far right, you're gonna take lemon yellow. When you open up this tube of paint, there's gonna be a metal seal on it. I have to find the camera. Where's the camera? Wait, there we go. All right, see it has metal seal? Look at the other, your top. See that little pokey thing there? Okay, so you're gonna poke that and that's gonna open your tube of paint. Now we live in Wyoming where we have high altitude. So if you take this off and the paint starts oozing out, gently squeeze it at the bottom and it will suck it back in, okay? So you're gonna do this with your lemon color, all right? And then you're gonna take and put about a pea's worth right in the center of your well like that, okay? So you're gonna do lemon yellow. And then you're gonna do gamboge. Poke it down. Oh, see it squeezed out there. And then about oh, look at, if that happens to you, I'm sorry. Just take our brush and I even clean my hands. All right, anyway, so put your top back on. So you're doing lemon yellow gamboge. Okay, and then, let me look at my list. orange yellow. Orange yellow is your next one. Open it up. Oops, see how it squeezes out. Okay, so lemon yellow, gamboge, orange yellow, and then yellow ochre. Okay, yellow ochre, about a pea, just do about a pea size. One of the advantages of working with watercolors as opposed to acrylics or oils, well, a little less so with oils, but acrylics and even gouache is that we will be able to continue to use these even after they dry. So it's not, you know, we can squeeze them out into our palette. It's lemon yellow, gamboge, orange yellow, and yellow ochre. Okay, so what I'm doing right here, I forgot this part of it, is writing lemon yellow or just lemon, gamboge, Gamboge, orange yellow, and yellow ochre. This is just so you guys, when I say, all right, using yellow ochre, that you'll be able to know right where it is, okay? Oh, and then vermilion, and then vermilion. So vermilion, Vermillon, vermilion. Does it have another I in there? Yes, it does. Vermilion, I-O-N, Vermilion. Anyway. Okay, and then we're gonna do rose. So get your rose, vermilion, and then rose. And after rose, we have one more red that's called crimson red. Poke that top down. Asked me how many tubes of paint I struggled opening before I finally figured out there was a little pokey thing on the lid. Exactly. Okay, and then after, okay, so that one was crimson. I think, did it have another word in there other than crimson? Crimson red. Okay, and then the last one is violet. Okay. And squeeze that out. So basically what we're doing is all of our flower colors are lined up right here. Okay, those are all our flower colors are in our wells. And then violet. Okay. Now, when everybody gets all of their flower colors in, give me a thumbs up and we're going to talk about what we're going to put into the round things, the round wells. How are you guys doing out there in the studio audience? That's what you are, right? The studio audience. The studio students. Are they doing okay, Allison? There are no tears yet? Oh, thank goodness. Aren't they, isn't that exciting? I mean, color just gets me excited. I'm gonna have to not look at you because you're gonna make me smile. I just do, you know, look at all those bright colors. We're gonna We're gonna turn them into beautiful flowers, we hope. Okay,
You have a question?
put the top back on and then take your tube and massage it.
Okay.
Okay, someone said that when they opened up their tube of paint that some oil came out. That's more than likely gum arabic. Gum arabic is the binder of the pigment. That's what makes it watercolor, okay? And sometimes it does separate out. And so you just put your top back on and then massage the gum arabic back in. So every medium that we work in, oil paint, your medium in that is oil. In acrylic, it's polymer. In watercolor, it's gum arabic. Though there are some watercolors that use honey as a binder too. And then there's the one, what's the name of the one that tempera? Tempera is like, for that one, they use egg yolk. Egg yolk, yes. I think of that every time I have to scrub dishes with dried egg yolk on it.
Yeah.
Like this would last like thousands of years. Okay, enough of that. All right, so we've got all our colors out like that and written down like that. I want you to move your paper down a little bit so that it's showing on the bottom, or you can just flip your palette over. That will be easier for me to do it this way. Okay, because now we're going to put paint into these big round ones, but we're not going to just put one paint in. And the first one, I don't know how I have mine set up. Okay, the first one I did was the blues. So in your kit here, you're going to have 3 blues. You're going to have Prussian blue, cerulean blue, and ultramarine blue. So what I want you to do with these is open them up. Oh boy, that's hard. Okay, open them up. And then
What are the 3 blues again?
the 3 blues are cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, and Prussian blue. And you're going to put a squeeze of ultramarine up towards the rim. And then about a third of the way, you're going to put your cerulean blue like that. And then you're going to take your Prussian blue, open it up and put it like that. So that's what it's going to look like there. There. Did I mention that this was going to be a messy class?
Okay, ultramarine.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter where you put them, just give yourself some space in between the colors. So ultramarine, cerulean, and Prussian blue. Okay. Bringing up my tubes here. And then write that down so you remember what blues you have and where they are. So here's my circle. I'm just going to draw a circle like that. And I'm going to write ultramarine or just ultra cerulean, just so I remember which is which in Prussian. I mean, when you look at it, even up close, you would have a hard time. I mean, I can tell, but I look at colors a lot. I can tell Prussian from ultramarine, but you may not. And it's really important to know the difference, okay? And then with the next circle, we're gonna pick up our 3 greens. And the greens here are called green light, green deep, and sap green. So you're going to do the same thing that you did with your blues, or you're going to do it with your greens. Dark green. Green light. And sap green. Just like that. Then draw a circle and write green deep, sap, and green light. Okay. And I'm gonna stop right now and let everybody get caught up. Thank you. While they're getting caught up, I can clean all the paint off my hands. So this is what your palette should look like at this point. Did anybody else get paint all over their hands? Okay. Well done. You have to be careful not to drag your sleeve through it too. Polar fleece is really bad to wear when you're painting. To you. Everybody give a thumbs up when your palette looks just like my palette. Well, not you guys. We've got some smart Alex here. I can tell if you're ready or not. I think I'm missing a brush over here. Oh, there it is. So everybody? Who are we waiting on? Okay. Okay. So we're good?
We're still waiting on camera and code.
Okay. The last two colors that people are going to need is going to be lamp black and Prussian blue, but I don't want you to do anything with them yet. Is Coke Philly ready yet? Oh, is everybody ready?
Camera?
I don't know why I'm looking. It doesn't say anything there. Looking at my own hands. Camera ready?
No.
It's hard for me not to get up and start dancing around. No. Keep an eye on her. Too many parts of me wiggle the wrong way. Okay. Camera, how you doing? Part of it is that we're getting all the supplies out, you know, and are they good?
Camera, are you ready?
Houston, we have a problem. Are they there? Are they even responding?
They have been. Oh, they are ready.
Okay, okay. What did you say?
Just.
They actually, oh, they sent it to
their
Jen.
message
Okay,
is just-
okay. Sorry. All right, all right. So we're gonna have Prussian blue and black. One of my key colors that I like to use because it's a good color that mixes with everything is called indigo, which is a blue black. Okay, we don't have blue black in this kit, so we're gonna make our own blue black. All right. So what I want you to do is just take right in the middle and do a squeeze of black. And then right next to it, I want you to put about the equal amount of Prussian blue in there. So you're gonna be like that, okay? So everybody get like that. This is gonna make your water dirty right away, which is why you have two waters. If you can coordinate yourself and remember to always put your brush into your dirty water first, then you'll keep your clean water. I, however, have been painting for a long, long time and I never remember that. So when your water gets dirty, you're gonna wanna just replace it, maybe, okay? So once you get the Prussian blue and the Prussians, too bad I don't paint left-handed because then my hand wouldn't be blocking what I'm doing. I'll try and, if my hand is blocking what I'm painting, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to let me know, all right? And I can move it out of the way.
Does
So,
it matter which brush? Does
pardon me?
it matter which brush?
I'm using the number 6 brush, okay? And so just because it's a small, number 4, I'm so sorry, number 4, the number 4 brush. Just because it's a good one for mixing, and I'm gonna go right in and just mix those two up together. It's pretty rare that you would be doing this with watercolor paint, but like I said, we're trying to make our own indigo here, okay? Try and get all the paint off of it you can, even if you come up to your lip of your circle like this and scrape it off. It's not that important. It's just that I'm cheap and I hate to waste paint, okay? So then I'm gonna rinse it off really, 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 really well. And I'm gonna come back in and I'm gonna just take a little bit of that paint. And to me, it looks like I need to add a little more blue. What you want it to read as is a blue black, which I can see that it is. It may look like black to you guys. So I think that we're pretty close. We're pretty good. What we really need to do is soften down the black. We just need to soften the black. It's pretty rare that you would be using black with watercolor painting. But it really comes in handy. So we're softening it and giving it a little bit of a blue color to it so that it will mix nicely with the other colors. Okay. All right. And so I debated whether I was going to have you do swatches. I'm really not a fan of doing swatches. But we are down to like 45 minutes in the class. So we may do this at another point when we are waiting for thumbs ups, right? You know, or something like that. But in the meantime, what we have is we have our palette set up, okay? And we now have a list of where everything is. All right, so set your palette aside. Usually if you're right-handed, your palette should be to your right. If you're left-handed, your palette should be to your left, okay? And if you're sharing a table, be cognizant of your neighbor, okay? Especially for the first step here. I'll get my painting out. All right. I'm gonna try for this class to work on the same palette that you're working on. Sometimes you will not be able to see it, so I may have to switch to a smaller palette It's just logistical. Okay. So we're gonna bring up our piece of paper with our mask on. Right here. Okay. And now using a number 10 brush. You're gonna dip it into the water, and then using pure water, just clean water, I want you to go into the upper right-hand corner and paint a clear water circle. Clear water circle. Kind of scrub your water in. Without giving you too much technical information, this is a 100% cotton paper, and if you painted on a 100% cotton sheet, the paint would go straight through. So it has something in it that's called sizing, which is usually gelatin. And this paper, I believe, is externally sized. So what we're doing by rubbing in our water is we're loosening up some of that size so that our paint will go onto the paper more readily. All right. So we're just doing a circle in pure water and then let that sit there. And we're going to come over to our paint. And we all know what paints we have here. Okay, so everybody should have their circle done. We're going to come over to our, wait a minute, I have it written down just in case I got nervous while I was on camera. We're going to do orange yellow, and I want you to dip right into that orange yellow, and you've got quite a big, I've got a chunk on there. I'm going to bring it over to this area here. This is your mixing area. This is your well. So I'm asking you to take a little bit of paint from your well. I'm asking you to take orange yellow and take it over to your mixing area and smew it around a little bit. Okay. And then I want you to just drop some of that paint as much as you can get. Just drop it right into the center of your circle. Okay. And then rinse your brush. So I've rinsed my brush off now, and now I'm going into my vermilion. Pardon me? Did somebody say something? Okay, into vermilion, and I'm gonna do the same thing. You do not want too much water on your brush. Okay, so a lot of what we're doing is we're learning your water to paint ratio, okay? Because we already have water on the paper, we have water, which is gonna make our watercolor fluid, all right? So we're coming into vermilion. I just stuck my little finger in my purple, try not to do that. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna leave here looking like I was beat up. Okay, coming into, I went into purple, into vermilion. All right, with not too much water, okay? You can see how I have a lot of water here. Okay, that's too much. And what's gonna happen if you have too much water mixed in with your paint, and then you go to a wet piece of paper, it's just gonna flood the paper. We wanna have a little bit of control in it. So we're gonna come in and we're gonna drop that vermilion and just paint right around your orange circle like that, okay? You wanna get some really nice bright color. And then after you do that, rinse your brush really well. And now you're gonna come into violet. Okay, and you do not need a lot of violet. Violet is a very, very dark staining color. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a little bit, and then I'm gonna hit up the edge of my circle like that, okay? That looks pretty silly now, doesn't it? Once you've done that, you're going to rinse your brush, and then you're just going to come in and smew it in with the orange a little bit. Basically, what you're creating when you do the vermilion and the yellow orange and the violet is you're creating a brown, okay? And there's a reason we're doing this way. I wanted to see you all to see how it blends together when you put it on a wet piece of paper. If you feel like I feel mine's a little spotty, you can come in and drop one drop of water on there, and that's going to make it all blend a little bit better. I'm going to bring that closer to the camera so you can see it. See how it's all blending a little bit better? And the water's moving around. And because you pre-put that water down, so I'm just kind of moving it around a little bit, because you've already wet the paper down, generally speaking, I could, but I'm not going to do this. I could turn this way over like this at an angle, and it's not going to fall outside of that circle that we painted with water. This is an important thing to understand about watercolor, is that generally you can control where it goes by putting water down first, okay? So that's the first part of what we're doing here. We're just doing that circle, and now that circle is going to dry, okay? So when everybody has their piece of paper looking like this with their mask down here and their circle melding together up there. Look, isn't that color beautiful? Anyway, so I did, what did I do? I did gamboge, vermilion, and violet. What? Yellow, I did yellow, orange, thank you. You're paying attention. Our facilitators paying attention. I did yellow, orange, and then vermilion, and then violet, okay? Okay, if you have a little bit too much water in there, you can take your paper towel or a tissue and lightly put it into your watery area and pick it up, okay? Just like that. All right, when everybody gets like this, give us a thumbs up. Kemmer, make sure and give me a thumbs up, not Alpine. That was a little snarky, sorry. Come on, Kemmer, you can do it. All right, when everybody gets like this, we're gonna be making grasses next. Okay. How's everybody doing out there in the, are you furrowing your brow? Don't furrow, there are no furrowed brows are allowed in the studio class, okay? Because then I think you're not having fun or you're confused. Of course, we all have furrowed brows. Just creative aging after all.
Over 55, right?
That's what we should call ourselves, the furrowed brow lot. Okay. Okay, so everybody should be right here, and when you're ready, the next step is super, super exciting and so much fun. Just be cognizant of your neighbor. That's all I have to say on this one. Okay. And you probably, for the watercolor, Wyoming Wildflower watercolor class, I don't know why I made that an alliteration, you're probably going to want to wear a smock. Okay. I'm going to make one note here because Ellen has committed the cardinal sin of leaving her paintbrush in her water. Okay. Okay. We do not leave your paintbrush in your water. You do for acrylic, you do not for watercolor. The reason is you leave your paintbrush in your water, the water is going to get into your ferrule and your ferrule is going to fall off. All right. So we don't leave. And I will admonish you. Oh, look, don't do that. Okay.
Judy, what brush are you gonna be using?
I think we'll use the number 10.
So everyone is ready.
Everybody's ready. Good job. Okay. All right. We're going to go to our greens now. And we're just going to start doing grasses. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your green light. That sounded funny. We're going to want to have a green light here and bring it over to your mixing area and drop some of that in there like that. Clean your brush really, really well. And then go over and pick up some of your lemon yellow. Okay, and mix it in with the green light. So you're going to make this really pretty lime green color like that. Okay. So mix your green light and lemon yellow together. Make just a little bit of a puddle like that. And I think because we want to work wet into wet here, I'm going to have you mix all of your green colors. Why don't you just come over and pick up some of your sap green too and go into another mixing area Don't drop it like I just did, and just use sap green right out of the tube like that. That will be fine for now. And then bring some of your green deep. Maybe just put it in with your sap green. So you're just moving some of your green colors from your well over to your mixing area like this. So you have 3 puddles, sorry, where am I? Both guys. I can't find the camera. I have this thing in front of my screen, so I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so you're gonna have your green areas looking like this, all right? All right, everybody has to relax for this part. Like that one. Can you just scoot it up over there? Oh, you got rid of it altogether. Thank you. Our facilitators are very clever. Okay, so here we have, I let go of my brush. Okay. Number 10. I'm going to be using a number 10. I'm going to show you what we're doing right here again. All right, this is what we're doing right here. Okay, now we may or may not have time to put the sky in. I did a sample painting earlier, so I'm going to show you why that's important. If I can find it. Yes, okay. These are 2 really bad paintings, okay? The reason that the sky is important, here's the sky that I put down first and then I painted yellow on top. What happens when you put yellow on top of blue? It becomes green, all right? You lose the yellow color. Yellow is normally in watercolor would be the first color to go down. So over here, I simply painted around. We may or may not have time to get the sky in today. I'm going to leave that to the last thing because the painting will be beautiful even without the sky in it. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to paint these grasses, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen when you take off your mask. So we're going to have these nice bright spots. Maybe I got carried away with this. Okay. I'm waiting to shoot her a dirty look. Okay, anyway. All right, so what we're gonna do now, we have our grassy area down here. This is drying. So what we're gonna do down here is we're gonna take, I just left my brush in my water. Surprised you didn't yell at me. Okay. Phew. Okay, we're gonna come in. I have a nice juicy color, a nice juicy brush. To do the grasses, you just want to go flick it up like this, all right? Don't flick too hard because you might flick paint all over the place. If you're worried about that, you can take your plastic mat and cover the other side if you want, or you can just be careful. I'll be careful, okay? And what we're going to do is grasses, just like this. Just really quickly paint some grasses in there. Get a lot of water, grass up like this, okay? I generally like to keep on a page this side, keep my grasses a little bit longer on each side like that. And then, while that's still wet, I'm going to come into my sap green. And because I've just put 1 layer of paint down, I want my sap green to be a little bit thicker, a little bit less water. And then I'm going to come up and do the second layer like this. Okay, so we're just kind of putting background grasses in. Okay, just like this. And then I'm going to come into my 3rd green like this. We're working wet into wet, so I'm going to ask you all to work quite quickly and just drop some darker colors in there, okay? You want a variety of greens. Remember, contrast creates clarity, so the more contrast you can get in there, the better off you are. So this is what it should look like when you're done, okay? when everybody gets their grasses done. What I want to do next, I want to do it while the grasses are still wet. So I'm hoping that everybody can hurry it along. Not that it's crucial. You can make a few of your grasses can go up a little bit taller too. So you want to vary the height of the grasses. Generally speaking, I like to put my darker grasses at the bottom of the page and up along the sides. Now, how this is different from my regular way of teaching is that we are going in there with some quite thick colors, but the thick colors work on this because we already have wetness on our papers. How do you get the what? I'll show you when we get to that part. We have to let the paint dry and then we're going to rub it off. Okay. So what the little blue dots that we have on there that are masked, when our paint is all dry, we're going to rub that off and then we're going to have a bright white area underneath it. Hopefully. It didn't work too well in my last painting though, see? Okay. I'm not sure why. I think I did it too thin. Okay, so everybody give me a thumbs up when you're that far. Everybody here is thumbing up. Is thumbing up? Is that? I did just make that into it. That's pretty embarrassing. You know, when you're working in the library, you really got to watch your language and your grammar because the grammar cops are here. There'll be no double negatives, right? Don't do it. All right, so everybody give me a thumbs up when we get this far. For those who are ready, one of the things you're going to want to do is take your plastic mat you're going to want to cover your clean piece of paper like that. You're going to want to take your practice sheet that we wrote all that stuff on, and you're going to very carefully just place it on the top part of your painting, okay? All right, and then introduce yourself to your neighbor because this is the part where you might be splattering them. So what we're doing is we're going to cover up, and what we're going to do now is we're going to splatter color into our paint, okay? So when everybody is covered up and ready to go, this is a really exciting moment. We're going to splatter. I wanted this first lesson to cover all the things that we're going to be using throughout the class. We're going to be using masks throughout the class. We're going to be making grasses throughout the class. And we're going to be splattering a lot because that's what the wildflowers are. When you look at a wildflower garden, you just have an explosion of color all over the place, right? And at least I do in my husband's flower garden. I realized when I said wildflowers that we have wildflowers here in Wyoming where we look at a mountain and it's just completely yellow flowers, right? We're going to do that later. Right now we're doing like basically wildflower gardens or just a lot of cacophony of wildflowers, right? Not very well painted. What we're going to get to, like with the next lesson, it's going to be stuff like this, right? I mean, that's to me an explosion of wildflowers. Okay, so when everybody gets this far, give me a thumbs up. Kemmer, thumbs up. Alpine, thumbs up. Cokeville, thumbs up.
We're waiting for Kimber and Coke.
Okay, Kemmer and Cokeville. Okay. Okay. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to make really juicy color. So I'm going to come into my vermilion. I have quite a bit of water on my brush.
Is that brush 10?
Number 10 brush. Yes. Okay. what we want to do is we want to tap this brush so that it lets drops come off of your brush. All right. So what I'm going to do is take a second brush. It doesn't matter which brush you take. I'm going to come over to my painting. This is why you've carefully covered everything up that you don't want splashes on, especially your sky. And I'm going to start tapping. Okay. I just did vermilion. It's quite wet, but it still has a lot of pigment in it. If you have too much water in it, the color isn't going to show. So you want it wet, but with lots of pigment. So juicy color. So like dip your brush into water and then come over and pick us some of this up and then mix it over here. I would say it should be the consistency of half and half. The brush that you're tapping, you tap it like this. So this is the one that's going to be letting go. And then I'm tapping it on another brush like this, right over here. I don't want too much red though.
Well, the brush with the paint on it is the one on top.
Is everybody getting good splashes? I've got to go run around for a minute. So.
Yes.
So you did. Yours is like right there, it's a little bit too thin, yeah. You got it. You know how to do this. Did you get it? You got it. That's all right, it's just a pretty color. Okay. Okay, Thane has successfully done it, so I'm going to assume everybody else was able to do that. Did anybody have any trouble? All right, let's do some violet. Let's get some darks in there. So I'm going into my violet color, making sure I have plenty on there, right? You don't want to do too much of this, but then splash and see how that dark color, okay? So I think we're going to stop with that. We're just going to do the violet and vermilion. Okay. And once you get that far, then you can remove your covers. Look at, you've already made wildflowers. Now, we have to let this dry before we take our mask off. If you try and take the mask off now, you're going to smear that wet paint which generally will just sit on top of the mask because the mask is rubber, latex, or whatever. So it's still wet and it will smear when you go to take it off. So we're going to let this dry and we're going to go back to our flower and we're going to get our yellow petals in, okay? So when everybody is ready to start their petals, give me a thumbs up from Kemmer, Cokeville, Alpine, Star Valley, and LaBarge. Everybody good?
We're waiting on a couple.
Now, doing the yellow color, this is where clean water is really important. Remember what I said about going into one to clean and, well, mine are both dirty already. So it's kind of the story of my life. I'm not going to worry about it too much. You can if you want. Go get some clean water. Okay, very good. All right, so I debated, like, initially I was going to have everybody trace the flower, but come on, we're creative agers. We all should be able to paint a couple petals, right? I have full confidence in you. So what we're gonna do is we're going to come over and let's mix up a good puddle of lemon yellow. Wait, whoop, where's my yellow? There we go. I'm using a number 10 again. It's actually much easier to paint with bigger brushes in watercolor until the very end. And then I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna add in some, do the gamboge. So I'm basically, the lemon yellow is a cool yellow, the gamboge is a warm yellow. And I'm gonna do it just like that, okay? I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough paint to go, but because we're using single colors, I'm not gonna worry about it for now. And then I want you to do the petal the same way that we did the center. Actually, you can do it two different ways. You can pre-paint it with water if you want. If you're a little insecure about your petals, then just paint a petal in water like this. Oh, rabbit ear. I knew that I was going to come up with an analogy for how your petals should be shaped like a rabbit ear, all right? A big bunny ear like that. I know that's really hard for you to see my water. Okay, can everybody see that a little better there, that I've just got water down there? You can go right up to your violet if your violet is dry. If it's not dry, then you're gonna wanna stay a little bit away from it, otherwise it's gonna run into it. All right, and then I'm just gonna go down with some plain lemon yellow right through the middle, like that. And then I'm gonna come in, and you'll notice I didn't clean my brush off, and I'm just gonna drop some warm yellow in on the sides, just to give it a little bit more shape and to show you what the difference is between your lemon yellow and your, so we have a nice little value change in our yellows. Okay. I use lemon yellow in the center and I use gamboge on the outside. So lemon yellow and the, oops, don't do that. Okay. And so what you're going to do is just carry on going around. Don't worry if your petals mix in with each other, and you can pre-paint it. If you do not pre-paint it, then you just come in like this and paint it a yellow using your lemon yellow and then dropping your gamboge in. I just reversed how I'm doing that, but there you go. And it's the same thing, that once you've painted your lemon yellow in there, then you can drop your gamboge in. So lemon yellow. You can also just put your brush down and press down to make kind of that shape. It works better with an older brush that's not quite so tight. And then adding some gamboge. So what I did here was I did lemon yellow in the center and gamboge on the outside. What I did here was lemon yellow on the outside and gamboge on the inside. Was my bad. It's not consistent, but it will work. You may need to come over and get a little bit more gamboge. Both the gamboge and lemon yellow in this set of paints are super transparent. So to get really vibrant color, you've got to really get a lot of pigment on there. Okay. So either paint it first with water or simply come in and paint the petal like this. We all know. This is very, very basic. Again, I'm just introducing you into the to the paper, the watercolors, the brushes, and wet into wet technique and splattering. Okay, so, and paint however many petals you want. You can connect the petals so that they're all overlapping a little bit. Okay, very simple. Okay, so everybody should be able to get this far. And then we're going to take the mask off and get some more paint in there. How are the petals coming? Okay, give me a thumbs up when everybody gets this far. I have like 1,000 of these now done, thousands. It's funny that I had to keep practicing it because it's one thing to paint it, it's another thing to explain it to people and know whether or not it can get done in this amount of time. All right, so when we get this far, give me a thumbs up. 10 minutes to go. Tick tock, tick tock. How are you guys doing out there? Victoria's going to go off the page. You can go off the page. I went off the page in places. So I was playing with the paper. See, off the page. Okay. Diana? Are you? Okay. Yay. Okay. Okay, when you get this far, let me know. We're going to get that mask off. Can anybody out there feel me praying that it comes off all right? Feel my prayers. But first, Diana, make sure that just go with a tissue or paper towel and make sure that you don't have any wet paint on there. Just pick up in case there's any wet paint there. I just did it to my own to make sure it would work that way. Okay. Okay, so when you get this far, then what you're going to do is you're going to take a paper towel. And just because I want to make sure that there's no wet paint down in this area where you splattered, I want you to take your paper towel and just rub it like this so that you pick up any of the wet paint that might still be down there. Okay. And then once you are sure that it's all dry, take your finger. Your finger should be cleaner than my finger. Okay. And all you do is rub and it will lift like this and leave it. Look at that bright white spot. Okay. So what you're doing is you're taking your finger and you're rubbing off your mask like this. Okay. And you just have to feel across your page for any areas that have rubber on them. If you put it on too thinly, it might not have blocked all of the color. That's fine at this point. So you're just rubbing it and it's coming off. My prayers were answered. Okay. So this is what you're going for, this right here. Okay. And due to our time constraints, we are going to not, that was really bad grammar, you guys. Were you watching me on that? We're
Getting ready to let you know.
we are not painting the sky is what I was trying to say. Okay, so now we should have all these really bright spots down here. What I want you to do is I want you to go, we haven't used our rose color. So let's go into our rose. Okay, and bring it over your palette. You can add a little water to it if you need to. I've got a piece of my mask in there. Okay, just like this. And then come over and just paint your white area, okay? With your bright pink. Look at how that really shows up there. with the bright pink. What I also want you to do is take that same color and paint it right over part of your green. I want you to see the difference between painting on a white and painting over your green. Okay, this is key to why we're doing the masking. And then just paint a couple of your dots, the nice rosy color. Okay. So just do a variety of, we'll do red next, maybe, I'm sorry, vermilion, and do a nice bright color. You might have one that's way up here too, or one that's down there, all right? And violet, let's do a violet one. I like the violet to be smaller. And yellow. So you're using your flower colors, which are all over in your wells over here. Your flower colors are all of these colors. So you can paint any color you want. You'll notice how much the yellow stands out. Go ahead and paint some of that yellow right over your green so you can see what the difference is, all right? There's the difference between painting a yellow over white and yellow over green. You can see how much brighter it is and how much it stands out. Okay, so both are perfectly legitimate. This one just sinks a little bit further back into your grasses, and this one really pops out. Okay, we have 5 minutes left, so paint as many dots as you can, as many different colors as you want. I would stick, you know, rose, vermilion, yellow, orange, purple, violet, sorry. Okay. And then we're going to be leaving this in our pad overnight. So if we don't get it quite finished today, when we come next week, we'll finish it up and then we'll work on the other side of the paper. One thing that you might want to do is dip your brush into a little bit of the violet and put a little black dot in the middle of your reds like that, which gives it just a little bit more depth, and maybe in the yellow. Okay. So you see how adding that little bit of violet in there. Okay. So get as many done as you can. We're not going to have time for show and tell today, but I want to make sure for the other classes that at the end we leave at least 5 minutes so everybody can show us what they accomplished. Okay, so and you can leave some of them white too. I mean, we are going to be introducing white gouache here, but the white has a nice look to it too, because we do have lots of white flowers around here. Okay. One last thing that it's going to bother me if we don't get this done. So I want you to dip into a little bit of green and put a stem on that flower. There you go. Okay. Not that it's crucial, but there you go. So that's what everybody should have for their first painting. Hear the happy sound of paintbrushes being cleaned. Bob tells me he can hear that all the way through the house, the sound of me cleaning my paintbrushes, which is a miracle because he can't hear anything. I must be a really loud paintbrush washer. Okay, does everybody's painting look like this?
So Kemmer has a question.
Uh-oh, Kemmer, what's the question?
If you wanted to add sky, how would you do that?
Okay, good question. If you wanted to add sky, you would do the same thing we've done before. You would just come in. This is the way I do it. When I'm doing something that potentially is wet, if my petals are still wet, then I would go in with water and I would paint right up, leaving white right around. I'll just do a little bit, leaving white around your petal. And then you would have to pick which blue you use. And I'm sorry and sad to say that all of our blues are not really good sky blues. Maybe come into your cerulean, which is the most sky bluey color that we have. And then just drop that color in like this. And you can see that because I did the water, that I'm leaving this white edge around the yellow just in case the yellow is still wet. Okay, so I do it like that. As you go down towards your grasses, just paint right over the tops of your grasses. I make it much lighter down at the bottom. If you look at your horizon in any, when you're looking out over the mountains or over fields, the sky is always lighter at the bottom, okay? Generally speaking, this is just a little something that I do too, is that I add right down when I get into my grass is just a teeny tiny amount of a red blush, right? Which is a nice contrast with your green and makes your green stand out much more. So we want blue up by the flower and then a little bit of red as you get down towards the green. I'm gonna stop there, but that's how you would do it. Okay.
Will we do sky next week too?
We can all finish the sky next week before we start the other one, because there's going to be a lot of drying time on our next painting next week. So yes, if everybody wants to leave the sky until then, that's fine. Again, this class was a lot of setup. All right, so yeah, if you want to leave your sky, leave it till next week. I'll leave half of my sky done so I can finish it next week. And I want to show you what we're going to do next week, which will be way exciting, I think. Okay. There are two different ways to do wildflowers. And well, actually, there's a million different ways to do wildflowers. Okay. This way over here, for the flowers, I'm using white gouache mixed in with our watercolors, which allows you to paint on top of watercolors. If you try and paint on top like we did over here when we took some red and painted right over our green, or we painted some yellow over our green, the color that was underneath showed through, right? So what we will do next week, which is a little bit of it's an easy method. I mean, this is really pretty easy. It looks complicated, but it's not. We'll be adding white gouache into our colors, and that way it will sit on top. So next week, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing our whole background area, and then we're going to be doing a heck of a lot of spattering, and then we're going to get our grasses in, and then we're going to come in and using white gouache mixed in with our colors, we're going to do a lot of dots, basically. We're making dots, very abstract. And then the following week, we're going to get more involved in a more watercolor expansion, a lot of wet into wet, and a little bit more like this. I'll get better at this by the time we get there, okay? Okay, because this is really what watercolors is about, right? Is the juiciness of it and the way it expands in the water. But I also think that gouache, or the white, I'm sorry, when I say gouache, I'm talking about an opaque watercolor. That's what gouache is. So we're mixing white in with our colors, which is basically turning it into a gouache and a tempera. Are there any other questions? Did everybody have fun? Did the other locations have fun? Oh, thank you, Cameron. Okay. All right, so we'll see you again next week. And next week, we're going to be doing this without the bad sky things. I put something on top of my paper while it was wet. What can I say? And also next week, we will be doing the other side of our painting over here. And I will take the time to get your skies in, okay? See you next week, everybody. This is me waving goodbye to everybody.
Thank you. Lots of laughing.
Did they splatter themselves?